Now here's something interesting, and I have a hard time with this one. I love Batman. I'm very excited for Robert Pattinson's Batman. I think he's a great choice. I think there's a chance, even though I love Christian Bale, Pattinson could end up being the best Batman we've ever had, and that's a lot because I love Christian Bale. Ben Affleck was great. Michael Keaton was great, but there's just something about Pattinson and this duo and the vibe they're going for really good. Just like the other day, what's his name? Jeffrey Wright. He's playing Gordon. He posted a picture on his Instagram, I believe, of Long Halloween and something like research. And we had heard stuff with The Dark Knight, like, oh, was Long Halloween inspired? But not to the extent where actors like, yeah, I'm reading this. So, and we've heard there's lots of villains, so it could kind of have that vibe, right? A big mystery, and he's going around town trying to figure out, and he's bumping into all these criminals and rogue galleries. So then we've gone this rumor. And the rumor, well, let's just start with the rumors. I'm going to tell you about the rumor. I'm going to tell you about why I think it's false. And even if it was being talked about, why it's a terrible idea for a few reasons. Excuse me. So, Johnny Depp is apparently rumored to be playing the Joker in Robert Pattinson's The Batman. So, this rumor, I wasn't going to touch it because, and I don't mind touching rumors, just because, like, sometimes we've done the Geekverse until we find out, it's like, we got this covered. Like, then it's like, it's not even point. It's not even worth it. I don't want to publicize them. I don't want to get them to promote them. And I don't want people to be like, that's not a rumor. It's just someone made a headline up and you're bouncing off it. But so I think Friday, Saturday-ish, it kind of was going around. And then this weekend, it's just really been picking up steam. So I got to talk about, because Joker and Batman are my favorite characters. I love the Batman universe, everything like that. If you know me, Batman guy. Batman's my number one. Joker's my number one. They're tied. 1A, 1B. So that relationship and that chemistry is really important to me. Johnny Depp. So first, let's start with the rumor of why I don't think it's real. But you never know. I believe, and this is what I've been trying to, because many people I talked to, or not talked to, was like, hey, have you seen this? And they kind of said, okay, well, just like through Twitter, or I saw other people posting it, that it was one of these things where it came from someone doing fan art, and it was just someone being like, I believe it's someone being like, oh, I've heard some rumblings, and they put this fan out. And maybe it's the reverse. Maybe someone just put out some fan art, and there's been rumors, people have been running with it. But that's what I kind of, it's one of those two. Either someone put that out, or someone made a fan art, and people are like, oh my God, wouldn't this be great? And it's starting to gain momentum. I'll start with one reason why it could be true is because, and obviously this person is not Boss Logic who's putting up, but Boss Logic, no one really gives him credit, because I think it was Justin Kroll. He's from Variety. He's like the top scooper. I think he's from Variety. And I'll look it up after. But he broke the news that Pattinson was getting the role. And then the other, I think it was like Hollywood Reporter, came up like, oh, but Nicholas Hoult is still in there. And all these people updated their articles with it. Nicholas Hoult and Pattinson. Nicholas Hoult Pattinson. Kroll just kept his Pattinson. He stuck by his guns. And he's done that a few times. And I really trust what he says as far as like the Hollywood scoop game, right? But Boss Logic doesn't get credit, because when we were talking about, there was like this string of like, this Pattinson thing came out. He put out just an image of him against a wall, and the bat, like his shadow was the bat suit. And me, Kirklin, and Taylor talked about, and this was very early on, and we just talked about it as like kind of an idea, and it was kind of similar to this, and that's what I want to talk about, where it's just like picked up momentum, people talking about the yes or no, and then it kind of died down, and we kind of got this list of people going around, and then we got back to Pass and Nicholas Hoult and a few others. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson was somewhere in that mix. Oh, well, I couldn't even imagine like an Aaron Taylor Johnson Batman and a Johnny Depp Joker. Just crazy to me. And I think Johnson's a great actor, but I just think that would not have been the right role for him. So I think they made the good choice there. But Boss Logic, if you don't know who he is, he's on Twitter. Look him up. He makes lots of fan art, and now it's not even fan art. It's like a career. I'm pretty sure the Spider-Man Far From Home Blu-ray, or one of the Blu-ray sets, literally he made a poster for them, and it's that. So he's done great UFC ones. That's like his job. I'm pretty sure his profession, or at least he's making good income for it. So good for him. And he seems like a cool guy. So he posted this image a while back ago, but he had said that I'm hearing little things, whispers. And that's where it's like this guy had, and that's where the Johnny Depp thing, I go, I don't know, because everyone's going, what's the source? Who's this guy? But this guy, at least is a little well connected, could have been talking to somebody, because he had, I think, went to the Endgame premiere or something like that. He made a poster for it. He could go to another premiere. He could have been easily anywhere. And someone in the production's drinking, or he meets somebody lower tier and they just let it slip. That happened to me one time where somebody in my life let someone the video game got canceled, but it was a certain DC game getting made. They knew it and they let it slip to me, and then I was like, okay. And then like, I shouldn't have said that. Now I always bug them. She won't tell me what this new game is that's being worked on, and it's by Warner Brothers. I tried, fans. I tried, but so things slip all the time. And maybe he's at parties at the end game thing. He's at this, he's at that. Someone else, oh, they're looking at pass and what? Oh, no, nothing. We're just like, you wouldn't believe you're looking like they're looking at pass and would you believe? Like, easily could happen, right? Because it was early on enough that you could share that just to be like, oh, look, they're talking to Patterson. You might go, oh, that's kind of weird. I doubt that's going to happen. Just like a fun, like, who's the list? Or maybe they just gave a list, or maybe they gave a list and said, but they really like Patterson, or Reeves really likes Patterson, but they don't know if it's going to happen. So I believe that. This Johnny Depp one, I don't believe. I really don't. I think because the sourcing of it, it's not anyone where I go, oh, there's a few kernels of it. The situation is a bit similar. But other than that, I don't believe it. But it's gaining traction, so I don't believe it. I don't think it's going to happen. The two reasons why it's not a good idea. One, the obvious. I'm not going to say anything as the other stuff we talked about earlier. There's Heard and Depp, and all's controversy going on, right? And it's a he said, she said, terrible shit, terrible reveals, terrible photos, stuff like that on both sides. And maybe one side is worse than the other. That's why they're at court. The court will figure that out. That's not for us or Twitter cancel culture to decide. But there's a lot of heat and there's a lot of negativity around him, and some justified, some stuff that he's done in the past like 2 years that was just kind of maybe off or a little bit different. That wasn't even having to do with Amber Heard and being like maybe an abuser, stuff like that. But even if it is, it's not great, right? And that's just a company thing of why that's one where I don't think it's a great idea, but it's still okay if he was cleared and let's say that was all, he was just a normal guy, misunderstood, maybe framed or something like that. Okay, I could see that. That's fine, but I don't think it's ever going to be as clean as that, and companies like to avoid that. So I guess my two reasons why I think it's a bad decision, that's just more in the camp of why I don't think it's going to happen. Because at the end of the day, I can't say it's a bad decision because, like I said, it's up to the courts and higher powers. The reason why I do think it's a bad decision, I'm going to pull up IMDb. All right? Let's go Johnny Depp. So Johnny Depp, I think at one point he could have arguably been, I don't think in a decade, but I think in a year, a 2-year, a 5-year span maybe, you could argue that he was the greatest actor in the world. It's the same way I argue for Michael Fassbender from 2010 to 2005, or wow, in 2010 to 2015, I think he was the greatest actor in the world. And we never got to do this cast about talking about who was the best like actor and actress of the decade. For a while, I said Fassbender's the guy. To me, it was ended up being Leo because Fassbender's end of his career kind of trailed off like this last decade. But for those 5 years, he was the best and no one was better. Whether it was the roles he was picking, the directors he was working with, the talent, he was on fire. Johnny Depp's had that a few times in pockets. But I didn't want the Wikipedia. The Wikipedia is a mess, But he has not been that in a while. I think he's had one great performance in a long time. Jack Sparrow, and that's not the one I'm talking about, but Jack Sparrow obviously is a big, iconic role, right? But even that, he ended up becoming like a caricature of himself. I'm watching Pirates of the Caribbean right now because I put them up there with The Mummy as like, and maybe like, I'm trying to think what else, but just like fun, kind of like, well-made B-level movies. I won't call Pirates of the Caribbean B-level, but it could have been. But it's just like I'm watching. It's like the acting's good, and there's fun twists and turns, and there's good character interactions and chemistry, and the choreography over the fights is great. But even that role, it didn't feel like Johnny Depp. Check out our review from years ago. I hated the last Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and I just felt like he was phoning it in, or he was playing a version of Jack Sparrow that to me didn't fit and wasn't well done in any certain way. So I'm trying to see when spoilers. Black Mass came out in 2015. And before Black Mass, and this is my opinion, before Black Mass, oh boy, you got to go down a long time. I could say I'm a big fan of Public Enemies, but I don't think it's an amazing performance, but I like the movie, good Michael Mann movie. I would have to say it would have to be, like, you got Corpse Bride. It would have to be like one of those Pirates of the Caribbean movies, probably on World's End. I defend both those sequels. Those are damn good movies. Are they flawless? Are they as good as the first one? No. But the fact that people like kind of put them on solo tier, no, man, those are ballsy movies. Those like some of those, that third one, the way Endgame was super long and got weird, At World's End did that before. Does everything work in it? No, but they deserve more credit. But so At World's End for me, and then you got like Lone Ranger in there. You got Dark Shadows. You got you got Mordecai. You got a bunch of bad stuff, and then you got Black Mass, 2015, and then after that, just a bunch of nothing. And then he did recently, which I was not a fan of, was Fantastic Beasts. Oh boy, those movies are not good. And then I don't think he was good in them. I don't think he was written well. I don't think he was directed well, and I don't think he performed it well. I do blame maybe a bit more. It's hard. I could say I blame a bit more of the script and the directing and whatnot because overall those movies aren't that great. But Depp hasn't been putting out anything that amazing lately, and it feels like his best years are behind him. So you're telling me I'll get to this other part of this, like the reason why I don't believe it. But you're telling me that we're gonna have Johnny Depp as the Joker. I get he's tight with Warner Brothers. He's doing the Fantastic Beasts things. I just don't see it. I don't. I don't think Matt Reeves, especially if he were to go that route. You got Robert Pattinson, who's an oddball choice, but becoming an indie darling, right? Has lots of support from indie people, people that actually follow his career. I haven't just seen Twilight. You have Trevor Wright, who is a really solid actor, but not a huge name. Zoe Kravitz, who is same thing. People know her as, oh, Lenny Kravitz's daughter, but she's building her career. She's getting better. She's establishing her name. You got Paul Dano as the Riddler. People don't know who Paul Dano is. My mom doesn't know who Paul Dano is. My dad, who loves There Will Be Blood, probably couldn't know Paul Dano. I could say, oh, the priest guy from There Will Be Blood, but if I said Paul Dano, he's not gonna know. And then you have like Peter Skarsgård, and then you got like Colin Farrell, who Colin Farrell is like legitimately the biggest one. Andy Serkis is the Gollum guy to mainstream people. They still know his face hasn't been around enough, right? This feels like an independent Batman movie, which I love, and I love all the stuff we've been seeing, the photos, everything. Go back on our cast, we talked about the suit and the mobile, everything about that. I love everything we see. Johnny Depp does not fit that. It is the piece of the puzzle that would not fit into that slot. It would be jammed in there. It would stand out like a sore thumb. It would feel like the old school Kilmer and Clooney ones where it's like, let's just get a big star to play this. And I just don't think he has it in him. I was going to say 10 years ago, maybe. Maybe, yeah, he could have 10 years ago. Because even I could say, okay, maybe 5 years. But I think Black Mass was one off. I think Black Mass he's great. And he's scary and he's driven in that movie. And he's not just playing like a really kooky, like he's going for it in that movie. And I thought he got the right balance of being realistic and scary. Maybe like a tad over the top, but he was very reserved. So I like that. So, but even then I wouldn't hand it to him. I think 10, 15 years ago, sure. But I just don't see it. Obviously it's different timelines, but I just say, hey, if it's an older Joker, just go with Joaquin. I want that, but I don't think it's going to happen. So Johnny Depp, I just think all around not a good choice because Johnny Depp to me doesn't excite me anymore. I get excited to go watch his older movies. Him being in a movie now, I need to see him go on a string of really good performances before I be able to hand him the keys to the Joker. Because even Jared Leto coming off, he had some good performance going on, and then even coming off an Oscar, I was like, okay, this makes sense. He was not my choice. I don't even know if he's in my top 25 or 50. I think there's many actors out there great, and it ended up being not being a good performance. But I did say, hey, at the lead up, I don't like this look, I don't like the direction, but I think he will be a good Joker. That didn't end up happening, but Jared Leto had the heat. He made complete sense that I was like, I'm not a fan of this choice, but I get it. Johnny Depp, I would not get this choice whatsoever. So there's that. Oh, and then the other thing is, I just don't see the Joker being in this film. So, and I don't want the Joker in this film. I don't want, like, which should I go? I don't see him being in this film because we got Joaquin Phoenix's Joker going on. That's taking all the heat. They didn't even bring Jared Leto back for Birds of Prey. That's taking all the heat from the Joker. Everyone cares about that. Joaquin may be done as a Joker, and I get it. I just feel it's. I could say very soon, but I just feel like that would be very soon because what was Suicide Squad came out in 2016, Joker came out in 2019, so then 2019 that'd be 2021. So it'd be 2 years, so a year less than Suicide Squad to Joker. But even then, the reason I kind of give that a pass because Jared Leto was in Squad Solo. He was a lot of the marketing, but once you saw the movie, it didn't feel like you're really watching a big time Joker performance, right? Love it or hate it, whatever you think. So I think there's more wiggle room. I think one, you don't want to fault Joaquin Phoenix that quickly. I know you say about everything, you say about Ledger and whatnot. People said that about Jack, but still, give it some breathing room. This guy just won an Oscar, first ever leading Oscar for a comic book movie, well deserved. But you want to give some breathing room. I just don't see him fitting. Even with Long Halloween, his story is fun, and if I made a Long Halloween movie, I'd love to put that in there. But I think you got to do that with an established Joker who it's like, oh, you fought against him, and this is just like a fun 15 to 20 minute segment of the film, like a Pulp Fiction style of Joker on Christmas. You could have a good old time. Maybe add Harley in there, whatever you want to do. I don't see him fit in this, and I don't want him. I think that I want to see the Riddler and Catwoman really fleshed out. I think Catwoman was fleshed out in Batman Returns. It was a different take, but I quite enjoyed it, other than maybe the Resurrection. But I think Michelle Pfeiffer gave a phenomenal, pitch-perfect performance that I honestly don't think Zoe Kravitz will top, but I'd love to see them try, so I want to put them in there. And Penguin, okay, maybe he's in there as a villain. There's some other rumors like Harvey Dent or other politicians, whatever that may be. But for me, Riddler, I really want to get a showcase. Yeah, we saw him with Jim Carrey, and I agree that some people going, I wish we had more newer villains that we hadn't seen before, like a Black Mask. So I get that. But I think Riddler has not been done justice. It's kind of like Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four. We need a good representation of Doctor Doom. We need a good representation of Riddler. Because Frank Gorshin's a much better Riddler than Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's just a guy in a green suit. He's just almost playing the Joker, you know. So is what's his name? Tommy Lee Jones in that movie. I really want to see that done right. And I think you can build up to him. I don't think you need to start there because I think the Joker, you look at Nolan's, he was probably going to be in Dark Knight Rises or whatever that was going to be called. It was a lead up, or at least he's going to play some role, right? It's tough when you do the Joker to go forward, I feel like, because he's just like the pin, like he's the ultimate villain for Batman, right? And I think he's one of the best villains in film and fictional history. So I think you will see the Joker in this series, but I don't think you're going to see him in the first one, other than maybe a Batman Begins-esque. There's a guy with poison mask, there's a guy laughing gas, there's a card. But I feel like you can't do that because Nolan's Batman Begins ends so perfectly with like, oh, look into this guy. So you don't want to feel like, oh, that's a copycat. And two, I just feel that there's other things we can focus on. Let's meet the new Batman. Let's meet these new Gotham. Let's meet the new Commissioner Gordon and Alfred and those relationships. Let's see these villains. Let's see these different takes. Let's see, in my opinion, Ridley become one of the top Batman villains. He already is, but I feel like he's fallen back a little bit. Like, let's get him up there. And played by Paul Dano. Oh my God, I cannot believe that's a real thing. I'm so excited for that, especially when we had those rumors of like Jonah Hill and Seth Rogen and all this stuff. I was like, I don't want any of this. So very excited that I'm very excited for the Batman, but I would be very not excited for this movie if Joker is played by Johnny Depp. If Joker's in the first movie, fine, whatever. But I don't think he will be. I don't want him to be. I think he could be the third one. Maybe he is the second villain. I guarantee you, everyone will disagree with me. But I feel like somebody, as a comic book writer or a director or a film writer, whatever it is, if you're a massive fan of Batman and if you want to produce Batman, I feel like everybody has a Batman and Joker story in their head. I do. I have one that I would love to create and put on screen or put on comic somewhere. I have that. I think there is, of course, there's somebody that I don't really care about Joker or it's been done enough, but I feel like so many people do that. We're like, oh, I want to do other things, but then slowly creeps in their mind and go, yeah, but I do want to get to Joker. Like, I want to take a crack at that. And I want to take a crack at, like, what my version of Joker is going to be. And I want to take a crack at, like, what his suit's going to be and his laugh. And, like, I think with a Joker, he's just such a ball of clay of a character you can mold to be anything. Directors and creative people really like that idea. So I do think we will see him because I just don't think, I think you can't resist. If you're Matt Reeves, I couldn't resist. Like, it's tough, you know? It's just the ace in the hole, as the great man once said, shout out Heath Ledger. So very excited for the Batman. Let me know, would you want Johnny Depp cast as a Joker? Do you think it's real? who would you want as Joker? Who would you actually want? Let's say it's not Joaquin Phoenix. Who would you want as a new one? My pitch has been for a while. I have a few. What's his? There has been the guy from Game of Thrones who played what's his name, Ramsay. But the two ones, his name's like Finn Ritrock or something. He's from American Horror Story. But the other guy, he's also from American Horror Story. But is Evan Peters. Evan Peters. I think he would be fantastic. I think he would be great. There's a lot of good actors out there. I think many actors could, even bad actors like Tom Wiseau could be a great Joker. But let me know who you think or who you want. Or if you don't, if you're one of those people like, I'm done with Joker. I don't even want to see him for like another decade. Even then too soon. Let me know.